That we vote on and record our certification that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements and which were identified in the motion authorizing the closed session were heard, discussed, or considered in closed session.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hardy?
Aye.
Mr. De Pasquale?
Aye.
Ms. Sheridan?
Aye.
Mr. Bowles?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Dr. Lateef?
Aye.
Dr. Long?
Aye.
Mr. Payne?
Aye.
Ms. Pillion?
Yes.
Mr. Wetmore?
Yes. Then we have to wait for the live feature again. I want to thank everybody for today's discussion. Mr. Rector, we're adjourned.
Thank you. I would ask for people not to take a break because we're 15 minutes behind schedule, and we also have a lunch promptly at 12:30. Obviously, if you need to take a break on your own, do so, but I'd like to proceed with the full board business meeting at this time. So if we could start by standing and saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Murray, would you please lead us in that?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Let's do it again. Encore. The first agenda item is approval of the December meeting minutes. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved, Mr.
Do
Rector.
we have a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, thank you. Next, we have three action items. First, a commending resolution for our outstanding student representative, Lillian Rojas, and then 2 university housing assignments. Lillian, we've enjoyed working with you this past year on some very difficult topics. We appreciate your great work and professionalism you've shown while in this position. I was asked, because I've now served with 10 student reps to the Board of Visitors, how Lillian stacks up, and I don't want to disparage any of previous ones because they've all been excellent, but she's really at the top of the class and has really been presented with, a very difficult year on a number of different topics. You've handled it with grace and dignity and understanding. Your listening skills are impeccable. Your ability to go out and find common grounds impeccable. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of the board. Dr. Lateef, will you please read the resolution for Lillian?
I will, Mr. Hardy, and just take a point of privilege here that Miss Lillian Rojas is a student from Prince William County, where I come from. The great Patriot High School, and she was a star athlete there and a star student. And I would just add to your comments before I read the resolution that she has embedded herself with the students and all the student organizations on all viewpoints. She has embodied the student viewpoints, and she's been eloquent in giving a voice to those and always does it with energy and enthusiasm for the benefit of this board. Whereas, the commending resolution for Lillian A. Rojas. Whereas Lillian A. Rojas of Prince William County is a 4th year in the Frank Batten School of Leadership and Public Policy and the College of Arts and Sciences, where she is pursuing majors in public policy and leadership and religious studies respectively. And whereas Ms. Rojas has served as a member of the Student Council representative body since her 1st year, including as chair of the representative body. She is also active in the University Democrats and is a Meriwether Lewis Institute for Citizen Leadership Fellow. She is a mentor in the Latino Peer Mentor Program and an active member of Catholic Who's and the Polish Student Association. And whereas a student representative to the Board of Visitors for the 2023-24, Ms. Rojas has been a sounding board for members and a voice of experience on current student issues including student self-governance, student safety, religious belonging, and a myriad of other matters. Resolved, the members of the Board of Visitors commend Lillian A. Rojas for her exceptional and devoted service to the board and the university, respect her as a valued colleague, and wish her every success and happiness in all of her future endeavors.
Thank you, Dr. Lateef. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, thank you, Lillian. Next are my remarks. Bear with me, I'll try to read quickly, but I do have a number of remarks to offer today. I'll try to be more facile than some of our technology yesterday. I'd like to take a few minutes to share some remarks and observations before I update you all on some events we have coming up in the spring. As I enter my 9th month as rector and my 129th month of serving on the Board of Visitors, I've taken some time to reflect on the university and this period of service. You might say that when it comes to issues regarding this board, this is not my first or second or third rodeo, maybe more like my 50th. When I first came to the university 40 years ago, I was a first-generation college student from a hardworking Irish Catholic family. I was extraordinarily lucky to have the chance to be here. My education and experiences were life-changing. And even now, 40 years later, I'm incredibly grateful for everything UVA did for me and the impact this institution and community has had on my life and the lives of my family members. People I know and people I meet regularly ask me, how is the university? My answer is almost always the same. The university is doing extremely well. We have incredible students and a record number applying to this school. Tuition or tuition and boarded is free for families making below $100,000 and $50,000 a year. Our athletic programs are among the best in the country and a source of pride. Our graduates are among the greatest contributors to society in all fields, and we often hear about the ways they are changing the world. Our outstanding faculty are committed to our students and their research. We have, in my opinion, the best senior management team in higher education, with President Ryan, Provost Bauckham, Chief Operating Officer J.J. Davis, UVA Health CEO Craig Kent, as well as our incredible vice presidents and deans of our schools. Our researchers are committed to moving their fields forward. We have a health system that saves people's lives every day and welcomes the sickest and most vulnerable. Our university employs more than 30,000 people and was just recognized by Forbes as one of the nation's best large employers. In other words, this university changes people's lives and saves people's lives. How many people or how many organizations can say that about themselves? And how many people, like us, are lucky enough to be able to participate in directing the operation and growth of an organization like that? Another frequent question I get from people is, how do you like being rector? My answer is always the same. I'm honored to be able to serve this great university. I wake up every day and ask myself what I can do to make decisions that are in the best interest of this university. How can I help promote UVA and help make it the best it can be? How can I represent the university publicly and in the most positive manner? How can I attempt to pay it forward? I always concentrate on what is in the best interest of the university. I believe that we as a board have a duty to assume good intent. We are all here to contribute to leave things better than they were when we got here. One of Walt Whitman's most recognized poems ends with the phrase, "The powerful play goes on, and you may contribute a verse." And as Robin Williams said to his students in the iconic movie Dead Poets Society, what will your verse be? As rector, I ask all other board members, what will your verse be? In other words, what do you want your contributions to the university to be, while always remembering to act in the best interest of the university? I also want to remind you all again that we are all visitors, which means ultimately we will all leave. We each have a responsibility to be respectful to each other, to our executive leadership, to our faculty, and especially to our students. This is the students' university, and they actively model student self-governance in the best of ways. We should be supportive of their efforts to learn and grow and engage in civil discourse with other students as they learn to work across differences. The process is not always perfect, but our role as Board of Visitors members should be to support our students, recognizing that they are developing critical thinking and life skills even in conflict. After 129 months of serving on this board, earning a BA, MBA, and PhD from this school, teaching a full course load on the Darden faculty for 8 years, living and breathing this amazing university since 1983 as a student, and living in Charlottesville for the past 30 years, I'd like to highlight one of our greatest attributes. Student self-governance is what sets us apart. I would argue that it makes the UVA student experience the best in the nation. We should embrace this and applaud it, recognizing that free speech is a right that extends to everyone, regardless of whether we agree with the content of the message. Our alumni's experience with student self-governance while at UVA is also one of the reasons why our alumni are so spirited and committed to this great university. Our board should be solving problems collegially. This doesn't mean we will always agree on the solution, but we should begin by assuming the best of each other and this university in everything we do, every discussion we have, and every issue we consider. Former Rector Bill Goodwin used to say, quote, "No matter what problems or issues the university has, we must always remember that this is a great university," unquote. I believe that, and I hope everyone else here does as well. I know we are regularly faced with decisions that involve change, which can sometimes be very difficult. We are strongly guided by the same principles that existed when UVA was founded over 200 years ago. Thomas Jefferson described himself as someone who does not generally advocate changes in laws and constitutions, but he also recognized that, quote, "laws and institutions must go hand in hand with the progress of the human mind. As that becomes more developed, more enlightened, as new discoveries are made, new truths discovered, and manners and opinions change, with the change of circumstances, institutions must advance also to keep pace with those times." He added, quote, "We might as well require a man to wear still the coat which fitted him when a boy, as civilized society, to remain ever under the regimen of their barbarous ancestors," unquote. To quote a more recent leader of UVA, my dear friend, mentor, advisor, and co-author, the late legendary John Colley, "Great universities like UVA stand the test of time." And no one believed more in student self-governance than John Colley. At 12:30 p.m. today, we will be having lunch with our student leaders who exemplify our excellence in student self-governance. With that, I turn to some updates and a couple of things coming up in the spring. I hope each of you have had the chance to watch Gretchen Walsh from the women's swim team break 4 American records at the ACC Championships. She set new record times in the 50-meter free, 100-meter free, 200-meter free, and 100-meter fly. Incredibly, Gretchen's sister Alex Walsh, also a swimmer at UVA, just broke a record for the most ACC titles achieved by one athlete and became the fastest women's swimmer in NCAA history in the 200 fly. It's been incredible to watch this unfold. Congratulations to Gretchen and Alex and all of our coaches and swimmers as they hopefully win their 4th straight NCAA championship in a few weeks. We have a trip to WISE on April 10th and 11th. We have 11 board members attending, which is terrific. We are grateful to Amanda and Todd Pillion for welcoming us into their home for a reception, and then we'll have dinner in Abingdon. The next morning, we will travel to WISE for a WISE committee meeting and dedication of the renovated Pippin Wiley Hall, renamed to honor our illustrious former member and my dear friend, the late Don Pippin. We will also make time for a tour of the WISE grounds. For those of you who've never visited, I think you'll be impressed with all that is happening at the college. Final exercises are May 11th at the College at WISE and May 17th and 19th at UVA. The board office will be sending out a schedule and a response form for both events. Also wanted to take a moment to talk about some other major milestones that we all together have worked so hard to accomplish. The College at WISE. The college has seen a major increase in applications and enrollment is up. It looks very promising. The Year in WISE program, where students waitlist at UVA but may enroll at WISE for a year and then transfer to UVA, has been more successful than we anticipated, and experience has shown that these students contribute tremendously to the college as well as when they come to UVA. It is a win-win. Some choose to stay at WISE for their 4 years, which is also terrific. Also, the College of WISE, launch of its first graduate programs in education and nursing, both critical fields for Virginia's future. Our Chancellor, Donna Henry, deserves much of the credit for many of the great things happening at WISE, along with her team in collaboration with the team here in Charlottesville. In December, we set in-state undergraduate tuition below the rate of inflation, 3% increase at UVA and a 0% increase at WISE for 2 years. This, along with the expansion of Access UVA, provides grants equal to tuition and fees for Virginians whose families earn up to $100,000, and tuition fees, room and board for those whose families earn less than $50,000 a year, which has made UVA very accessible to both low-income and middle-income families. The groundbreaking of the Paul and Diane Manning Biotechnology Institute building. This will be a cutting-edge facility with our faculty and staff doing life-saving research and clinical work. And that leads me to the truly astounding increase in research funding we've been able to attract in the last year. We went over $500 million in research funding, which is about 120 more than 5 years ago. And we have grown federal funding by about $86 million in that time. This afternoon, Jim Ryan is going to lead a session on the use of artificial intelligence at the university, and that is another area where we have an opportunity to be out front nationally. Our data science school and the recent lacrosse family put us at the table in this space. And last but not least, as we heard yesterday, we hit our $5 billion capital campaign in December. This is a strong vote of confidence from our alumni, grateful patients, and friends. And the university is doing great things, and we will use their money wisely and well. As was discussed in advancement, we will celebrate this properly at some future date. There's much more that could be said. Our university is in a position of extraordinary strength right now, and our trajectory is upward. We can be the shining university on the hill in higher education. I'm grateful to the members of this board as well as their predecessors who have worked and are working tirelessly alongside our leadership to make a difference in the lives of many people, students, patients, families, our employees, and members of our community. Okay. At this time, we now would like to have remarks by the student representative. Lillian, I turn the podium over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Rector. Good afternoon, everyone. It's hard to believe that this is my final quarterly board meeting. It does not seem like much time has passed since I received that congratulatory email from Susan. However, it is not yet goodbye, as I serve in this role until June when my successor will take over. The next student member of the board is someone who I have full confidence in and has already demonstrated a deep love for this university community. Looking back on my first meeting in June, I had no idea about the unique challenges that this academic year would pose. I stepped into the role with 3 areas of focus in mind: safety and security, support for low-income students, and student self-governance. Even though there is no way I could have anticipated what this year would bring, I am pleased to report that progress has been made in all 3 areas. Given recent events, safety and security remain front of mind, but we've made significant progress over the past year. The increased presence of ambassadors have brought a heightened sense of security for graduate and undergraduate students walking around at night. I'd like to convey the gratitude of the students I've spoken to JJ, Chief Longo, President Ryan, and their respective teams. I would also like to commend these teams for welcoming a grounds-wide discourse on safety at UVA. We're seeing increased engagement on the issue as students propose solutions to what they see as the most pressing problems, and I know that with their leadership and student engagement, UVA will feel safer each year. In respect to support for low-income students, I am pleased to relay nothing but positive receptions to the expansion of the Access UVA financial aid program. In conversations with current students, many Virginians have expressed how the university's commitment to accessibility for all, regardless of income level, influenced their decision to attend the university. Likewise, I have talked to some prospective students who, after hearing about the expansion of Access UVA, submitted applications for admission to the university because the financial barrier they once thought impeded their ability to access higher education was no longer. Especially as the FAFSA delay contributes to difficult conversations about the accessibility of higher education across the country, I'm proud to serve a university so committed to its ideals. Our commitment to keeping our doors open to talented students across the Commonwealth benefits the university community as a whole. My first-gen and low-income peers bring extraordinary contributions and perspectives to the classroom and beyond, and I encourage you to continue striving for accessibility in the years to come. I set the goal of supporting student self-governance at a time my predecessors in the space were deeply concerned about the administrative and social support for this defining quality of the University of Virginia. I have been gratified to see the board and administration so warmly embrace the tradition this year. I recognize that supporting student self-governance in such a divisive moment is fraught, but student self-governance is the heart of the educational mission of the University of Virginia. We will do hard things. We will manage budgets and endowments, write legislation, lead our peers, fight, argue, and strategize. We will make mistakes. We will make decisions the board and administration do not agree with, and we will learn. And ultimately, we will be better graduates because of it. It is for this reason that I ask you to remember that the principle of student self-governance exists for the moments it is tested, not for the moments when we are unified. This does not mean, of course, ignoring how challenging this past academic year has been on UVA. The war in Israel and Gaza has been all-consuming. It speaks to the strength of the university that students are so willing to engage in such a complicated, heart-wrenching discourse. I've been privileged to go to events led by a variety of student groups with different backgrounds, perspectives, and purposes as they have thought through what this war means for them. I've also been trusted with the perspectives of students who are at a breaking point and who are disillusioned about the prospects of reconciliation with their fellow students. The intensity of the past 2 weeks has been overwhelming. It has been beyond heartbreaking that some, in the advance of their cause, have succumbed to hate. Anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and all other forms of bigotry should continue to be condemned by the university, by this board, and all student leaders committed to principles of student self-governance. Bigotry has no place in decent society and certainly no place at the University of Virginia. What is not reflected in the polls, but I can personally attest to, is the authentic desire among students to live out Jeffersonian ideals. The grief caused by this conflict stretches far beyond the borders of Gaza and Israel. Students here have lost family in Gaza, and they are friends with those who are being held hostage. But it is these students who cannot escape the consequences of the war by turning off the news, who have demonstrated radical empathy, nuance, and understanding. They have set the model for meaningful dialogue that we have seen at the Karsh Institute dinners and academic programming across grounds. They have shown what it means to fiercely celebrate their traditions, history, and culture in the face of increased scrutiny with Shabbat 300 and World Job Day. They demonstrate the resilience of UVA students by continuing to excel academically and lead their communities through the pain and hardships. And they have demonstrated tremendous bravery by finding shared humanity in their shared grief. Student leaders in the Jewish and Muslim communities have spearheaded the revitalization of the Virginia Interfaith Coalition to bring students from all faith backgrounds together to honor each other's differences and find common grounds. In this final address, I'd like to say to my fellow UVA students, we are not at war on grounds, and we are a lot more than one vote. If there is to be peace in our times, as I hope there will be, it will be brought about by folks who demonstrate the resilience, courage, and bravery it takes to find that shared humanity. It is easy to shout and much harder to listen, but I've seen us do terribly hard things. Keep looking for the places to talk to each other, to have dialogue, and to learn more. Let's take our spring break and come back and do what we do best, learn and talk. And to my fellow board members, thank you for listening to me. Serving as student member of the board has been an honor and a privilege. I am immensely grateful to all of you for trusting me with this position. Thank you.
Thank you, Lillian. Now we will hear from our Faculty Senate Chair, Michael Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy, we look forward to your remarks.
Thank you. Last time I got to go before her. To get that in the record.
Standing ovations, even Ralph Sampson didn't get to you.
I'm not sure. Do I have my slides? Oh, okay. I'll stop touching things.
And what they
Big ones is, what is the purpose of our faculty senate? Our bylaws say we are, it's here on the screen, that we represent all faculties of the university with respect to all academic functions such as the establishment and termination of degree programs, major modifications of requirements for existing degrees, and action affecting all faculties or more than one faculty of the university. It's not quite clear, and many of the things that we do and the actions we take is not represented in this mission statement. So we are, this afternoon actually, going to debate a new proposed statement that clarifies what we do. So we are going to state that the Faculty Senate represents the faculty of the university as a deliberative, self-governing body, advancing the welfare and excellence of the university and its community. We do what I'm doing right now. We advise the president, provost, rector, and board of visitors concerning academic, institutional, and other matters. The Senate collaborates with other constituencies to further the mission of the university, including student groups, and the bit about our oversight of academic functions. This is not the final language, but the Senate is discussing should we make a move to this new language to help clarify, and really what we want to do is streamline where we are headed as a group in the future so that our work is clearer and the leaders to come have a clear vision on when faculty become senators and they ask, well, what do we do? What does the Senate do? We have a clearer answer for them. One of the big issues, and I know the provost has mentioned this already to you, I brought handouts in case your eyes are like mine, is the issue of students with disabilities around grounds, the increasing number of them, and how faculty are working to support our students. As you'll see either on the screen or on the handout coming around, there has been a substantial increase in the number of students with disabilities at UVA across these past years. And the result of that, it's about 14% of students at UVA who are requiring accommodations of some sort. And the number of accommodation requests that are being made of faculty are also of a substantive number. And these are individual requests being made of individual faculty members, and the work often falls to faculty to work with students to help get them the accommodations to which they are entitled. Across the country, UVA is not alone by a long shot in the numbers of increase that we are seeing. But what we are seeing is substantive numbers of the percentage-wise are students with mental health challenges such as anxiety and depression. And one of the things that we basically have to say is when it comes to working with students with learning disabilities, working with students with ADHD, working with students who are deaf, hard of hearing, or of low vision, many faculty, the university is well suited. We've been working with students from those populations for a long time. When it comes to this new class and the substantial number of them, not as much. And so we need some new thinking, new resources that will help to support both the students and support faculty along the way. One of the things that happens on the faculty side is we frequently run out of time to complete all of the tasks in our actual job and then to take on all of these extra requests from students. And these students are entitled legally to these accommodations. So it's not like I can decide I'm not going to do this. These are legal requirements that I need to provide to students. So what we're thinking as a Faculty Senate, we have a special working group on this. We're working closely with the university administrative leaders on this as well. I'm thankful for their partnership. Is we are thinking about faculty and students and staff need new training so we can better understand the issues that are in front of us. We need to think about ways that we can leverage resources we already have in new and useful ways. We also need new resources, and that can be a range of things in terms of new hires potentially and potentially new space, but I don't want to get too far ahead of where we are in that planning process. So what are we planning? We formed a committee that I just mentioned. Many of the data you're looking at came from that committee and were able to profit from that. So we're not just saying, hey, we've got faculty complaining, we've got students complaining, we've got a problem. We're digging really deeply into this so that the data we have can paint a really clear portrait of what situation we're looking at and what possible remedies would make sense for us as a university to move forward. We are looking at, that's what I just said, okay. This is a picture of the presentation that's forthcoming to President Ryan and Provost Balcom, where we lay out some of the ideas that this committee has for how we can address these issues. In a preliminary way, we anticipate this is not a one-year, let's do this and it's fixed situation. This is an issue that will be facing the university, the faculty, and students for many years, particularly as you look at the increasing number of students. We see no reason to believe that the number is going to go backwards instead of escalate further. I think ultimately what we're looking at is we need a combination of existing, new, and reconfigured resources that we can be working towards. And I look forward to engaging you all further as we are creative, as we are inventive, and looking at ways that we can address this issue that really does impact all of us. So I'm thankful for that. Another issue we're talking about is the issue of representation within the Senate. There's a class of faculty around grounds who are not currently represented by the Faculty Senate. There's somewhere between 300 and 500 of these folks. Oftentimes they're from the library, or they have a job title that isn't quite covered in that opening mission statement that I read to you. Their job description doesn't match that, yet they are faculty in not maybe in name, but in function. And so the Faculty Senate is right on the verge of a final vote to recalibrate how we welcome these unrepresented faculty into our group. We anticipate that vote happening later this month. One of the things we as a Faculty Senate do is we learn. We often welcome guests from around the university who update us on various issues. For example, President Ryan and Provost Balcom have come to us twice to update us on key issues that are happening at the university. They answer senators' questions. We just at the last meeting, we had Jason Belford and Kelly Doney came and they talked to us about IT security and some changes that they're planning to make our network and our data more secure that will have faculty-facing impacts. We heard from Amanda Monaco, who's our university ombuds, and she updated senators. Many senators didn't know we had an ombuds and what her office does. And so we were happy to meet with her and hear what she had to say. We welcomed the UVA threat assessment team. They updated us on their work and enlisted us in helping to be vigilant to help keep all of us safe around grounds. We welcomed our Title IX experts. Emily Springton and Molly Zock came and talked to us about Title IX issues. And Greg Roberts came and talked to us about university admissions and changes that have been instituted. Earlier this year, we had Tyshara Robertson-Lewis and Andreas Masiaskos from the Student Council. They were very eager to bridge closer ties between their organization and ours. I think we've taken some baby but important steps toward having more dialogue between our important groups. And finally, at the very beginning of the year, we had the past chair of the University of North Carolina's Faculty Senate. They do a 2-year chairmanship at UNC, and so she gave us some updates and ideas about leadership. Finally, just a couple months ago, we had our election to identify the faculty choice for representative to this body, along with 2 alternates. And in our forthcoming meetings, we will vote on next year's Senate leadership. That's what I have. Thank you, and I'm happy to take questions if there is time to do so.
Absolutely. Do we have anybody have any questions for Professor Kennedy? With that being said, thank you so much for your presentation.
Thanks, everybody. Good to see you.
So much. You're welcome.
The next item on our agenda is the Gifts and Grants Report. It's a written report in your materials. Please take the time to look at it. As we heard yesterday, and we're always familiar, we are most fortunate to have very generous donors, some of who have sat around this table in the past and are here now. Thank you for your support of our university. We will now break for lunch with our student leadership group in the Dome Room at 12:30. And, yes,
Does anyone have a quick explanation? We have some folks who've come to.
Could I?
yeah, sure.
Would that be okay?
Yes,
So first of all,
absolutely.
thank you for the graduate students who are here. I want to acknowledge your presence and just to kind of share with the board, while it isn't an agenda item, and so I don't want to walk it on. Important conversations and movements with graduate students, both at the university and around the nation, over recent years about the support that we provide to our graduate students, who truly are central to our research and educational mission. So I don't think that this is the venue for us to sort of get into all the details, but I want to thank you for that. There was an issue about a year ago that was really quite unfortunate, and I again apologize for, where some graduate students received late payments. And that was something that was not acceptable, and that we worked to try to address. I believe that there was one more instance this year in a single department where there were some late payments that we worked on, and again, I apologize for that. Happy to follow up with you in more detail if we've got some of those details wrong, but this is just to acknowledge the importance of what you do and to maybe just kind of share with the board. I think that that's why our students are here to be with us today, so look forward to following up with you beyond this meeting. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, and we'll now break for lunch, and we'll see everybody back here at 1:45. Thank you.
Good job getting us back on track. I threw you off, but.